What's up, everybody? Welcome back to FFT. I'm Trevor, and today we're talking about the best strategies for drafting in fantasy football. Let's check it out. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about kind of the three most popular draft strategies that I've seen and I've read up on, and then also kind of best practices based off of different positions that you're in, or the different draft spots that you may find yourself in, whether it's the 101 or the 112 or anywhere in between. We'll go through all that. So the three kind of most popular draft strategies. The first is positional. So positional is essentially where you're focusing a certain type of player. You're focusing a running back early. You're focusing a wide receiver early. You may be focusing a quarterback early, heaven forbid. But this is a sort of draft strategy that a lot of people use going in, and they just get stuck in their ways. If this is something you're wanting to do, just be willing to kind of shift gears if needed. Don't be stuck in your ways. You need to be flexible. I generally lean on this sort of strategy if as more of kind of a reactionary strategy than actually going into the strategy or going into the draft with this as a mindset. So like, I don't necessarily go into a draft thinking I'm going to go 0 RB, meaning I'm not taking a running back until like after the 5th or 6th round. I don't go into the draft thinking that. If that's the way it falls, yeah, maybe I'll be fine with that. And I understand how a 0 RB strategy works, because by the time maybe I'm the 112, maybe a lot of running backs go early in my league for whatever reason, and I end up with a Jamar Chase. I got to be willing to go, okay, maybe I'm doing a 0 RB and I'm going to focus some wide receivers and a quarterback here in the first few rounds. Or maybe the other way around, where you're focusing a running back and or all the wide receivers go early and you have to focus a running back and maybe a quarterback or a tight end. Maybe you like Travis Kelce or something like that. You can do that too. But positional rankings or the positional strategy, in my mind, is more of a reactionary tool, a reactionary strategy based off of how your other league mates are going. I do want to mention really quick, if you're going 0 RB, that's not a bad way to go. Wide receivers right now are falling off the board super fast this year compared to even last year. Right now, I think 6 out of the first 10 picks in a redraft half PPR league are wide receivers. Last year, it was 3 out of the first 10. So it doubled since last year. And I think people are starting to realize wide receivers have a longer shelf life. Wide receivers have more, they're more consistent. Running backs tend to fluctuate a little bit more, have high weeks and low weeks. Whereas like if you have a Justin Jefferson or if you have a Cooper Kupp, you're getting high points week to week to week. And those could be the sorts of differences that end up winning you a league. So 0 RB is a super popular strategy, definitely at least for the 2023 season. You can also go 0 wide receiver and prioritize RBs. The reason that an RB strategy may be, worthwhile and considering, and not the end of the world if that's the way you need to go, is that there's quite frankly just a lot less awesome running backs out there. Once you get past like Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, you start falling off the cliff a lot faster than you do with wide receivers. There's a lot of great wide receivers out there. Again, the only issue with wide receivers is that they tend to all be falling off the board really fast. Everyone's, grabbing them up as quick as they can. If you are a person that wants your Patrick Mahomes in the early second round or into the first, good luck to you. I know it's a lot of fun having, Patrick Mahomes on your team, or Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts. But it's not worth it to me. I would wait until one of the later rounds, get a Trevor Lawrence, get a Daniel Jones, get somebody that you're not spending an arm on a leg to get, or an arm and a leg to get. There's a lot of other great options out there. And then if you're picking up a quarterback early, you're just missing out on an incredible running back or an incredible wide receiver. Don't pick Travis Kelce. Not worth it in the first round. He's getting old. He can't do this every year. Grab yourself a Mark Andrews if you really want a stud or tight end, but you don't want to pay up as much. That's my recommendation. All right, so let's jump into the second draft strategy. And the second is ADP. Yes, everyone knows what ADP is, average draft position or average draft pick. I actually don't know what the P stands for. I think it's position, average draft position. This is pretty straightforward. You look at where all the players are falling based off of mock drafts and real drafts where people are picking players at certain positions, and the computer begins to memorize where all these people are getting picked, and people have spreadsheets and all these things. Every app is a little bit different. I use Sleeper. I've got a video on that. But as you go down, you go, hey, Justin Jefferson's the 101, and the computer will show you who the next position or who the next best pick is based off of the positions that you need. So if your wide receiver room's full and you still need a running back, it'll show you the next best running back, and you can pick them up, bring them onto your team. You're good to go. So ADP is great. You can honestly win leagues doing ADP. People do it, and it's definitely a viable way to go. This is what the computer would do anyway if you just turned on auto draft. It just plays the ADP game. Bada bada boom. That works if that's the way you want to go. Last, and honestly my favorite, is tier-based rankings. Tier-based rankings are awesome, and a lot of people recommend this. I'm jumping onto this train too because it's a fantastic way to draft. It's a fantastic strategy. It allows you to do research up front or steal somebody else's sheets that's done the research for you, and play the game based off of who is available within the tier that you're looking for. So let me show you guys. I have an Excel sheet here. I think you guys can see now. This is, by the way, I didn't make this. This is not these are not my tier rankings. Mine are locked away in the Trevor vault, only to be used by the most brilliant minds in the world. But I recommend doing this, and I'll kind of walk you through what it looks like. You can see that each column is broken down by position. There are tier rankings out there that aren't broken down positionally. I recommend finding tier rankings or building your own that are broken down by position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver. That's the way to do it. And you can see, so like if we looked at running backs, in my eyes, Christian McCaffrey, or in this person's eyes, whoever made this document, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, and Austin Eckler are all within the first tier. So when they're drafting, they go, okay, Christian McCaffrey's off the board, Austin Eckler's off the board, Nick Chubb is still available. Okay, well, I'm going to have to wait, however many picks before it gets back to me. Nick Chubb is still available, and I already dropped down. All of these wide receivers are maybe taken. I'm already in the second tier of wide receivers, but I still have a tier 1 running back available to me. I'm going to grab Nick Chubb, because if I don't, by the time it gets back around to me, I'm only going to probably have options in the second tier of running backs, or maybe even the third tier of running backs. So if you have that option available to you, you're essentially saying, in your eyes, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, and Austin Eckler are all within that sort of tier 1 threshold in your mind. And Nick Chubb, even though Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler are gone, Nick Chubb is the next best option, and you have to drop down a tier to get to these other guys. So I love this because it helps you not only kind of see what tiers are still available, but you can kind of play around with and make your own sheets. It helps you prioritize players that are, those diamonds that I was talking about that maybe other players don't necessarily see, or other league mates don't see in these players. So I recommend doing this. I think this is the best draft strategy out there, and it's definitely worth taking a look at. So let's jump into draft positions. So I want to help you guys out a little bit. If whether or not you're drafting kind of 1 to 4 spot, 5 to 7, 5 to 8 spot, or 8 to 12, kind of those last picks in the first round. And obviously, if you're doing snake, it loops back around. But what are some strategies, and how best should you manage those sorts of things? If you have a pick, if you have your pick of where you get to draft, I recommend either taking the 1 to 4 or the 5 to 7 spots. So anywhere within that 1 to 7 area are currently my favorites for the 2023 season for a normal redraft half PPR league. The first thing to consider, though, is this a Superflex league? Are you in a Superflex league? If you are, this throws a wrench into everything. Obviously, you're going to be taking quarterbacks early. You're not going to be focusing the Justin Jeffersons of the world. You're going to be focusing, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. All those sorts of quarterbacks are going by fast. And so if you're in that 1 to 4 spot, first round, that's what I recommend doing. Just take one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It's going to help you out tremendously. You're going to need a second quarterback anyway. And if you can end up with a Patrick Mahomes or a Jalen Hurts, man, you are set for the season. All right. Let's talk about the 8 to 12 position, though. Again, if this is super flex, I'm really not liking the 8 to 12 spot in a super flex league. And the reason for that is with quarterbacks, you're stuck with like a Fields, a Herbert, a Lamar Jackson, a Trevor Lawrence. That's definitely a tier below those first 4 guys I mentioned. It really feels bad to take one of these guys in later in the first round. And when it comes to wide receivers, you've got Jamar Chase, which is great, but right now Cooper Kupp is still in that first round, and he just got a hamstring injury, and he's going to be out for weeks. So based off of his injury history from last year, I'm not taking a risk on this guy. I know he has incredible upside. He has, he's in the first round for a reason. He has incredible talent. Not worth it in my mind. He's not worth that first round pick. And then you also have like a Tyreek Hill, who's getting older. He's also still incredible, but he's getting older. This end of the first round, you're having to spend some picks on guys that are riskier. So like the guys I just mentioned, Stephon Diggs doesn't even make this list. Like I wouldn't enjoy picking him in the first round of a super flex. Running backs, Eckler's incredible. I would take him. Barkley's incredible. I would take him. Bijan's incredible. I would take him. Jonathan Taylor, he's on the pup list now. He's looking to get traded. We have no idea what's going to happen with him. He's super risky in my mind right now. Anything could happen with him. So if you're drafting this week, be weary of that. I'm avoiding Jonathan Taylor. I don't think I have any shares of Jonathan Taylor right now in any of my leagues. Too risky. Kelce, Travis Kelce is not a first round pick. He is not worth it. Tight ends are not worth that first round pick. Yes, I know last year you're going to say, but Trevor, he had the threshold between Travis Kelce, or the difference, the gap between Travis Kelce and the next best tight end was huge. Travis Kelce won me my league last year. Yeah, maybe so, but I'm also guessing that you lucked out on some of the other running backs and wide receivers, and that's really the reason that you made it to the playoffs and ended up winning your league. I don't really think Travis Kelce is how old is he now? He's 31, 32. Not worth it. He's going to fall off a cliff at some point, and you don't want to be holding that bag when it does. You don't want to be holding on to him when that happens. He's going as early as like the 1.5. He's not worth the fifth overall draft pick in your league. He's not. There's other tight ends out there. I'm gonna be doing a video on tight ends here soon. I'm gonna show kind of my top 3 favorites that you can spend a much later round on and still have incredible quality and high upside. So stay tuned for that. But my favorite spot, my favorite position in a super flex league is that 5 to 7 round, because you're ending up with like either like a Joe Burrow or a Jalen Hurts drops to you in that spot, which is incredible, or you're ending up with like a CMC or a JJ, and that just feels so great when you leave a draft having one of those guys. Oh my gosh, it just feels incredible. But generally, the best QBs are gone. You're ending up with like a Jackson, a Herbert, Fields. So if that's what's available to me, I'm generally picking JJ or Christian McCaffrey over those guys. But also in the 5 through 7 round, when it swings back around to me, I'm ending up with some of my favorite players. I'm ending up with Eckler, gets back around to me sometimes. Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh my gosh, I am so high on that guy right now. He's going to the moon, guys. Jahmyr Gibbs, you heard it here first. Probably not first, but he is going to the moon. Jahmyr Gibbs, look out for that guy. Jalen Waddle. Oh my gosh, if I get JJ and Waddle on my team, oh my gosh, I'm salivating just thinking about it right now. Josh Jacobs sometimes gets back around to me. Bijan Robinson. Could you imagine having CMC and Bijan Robinson in your redraft league? Oh, holy cow, guys. Garrett Wilson has the potential to be a top 4 wide receiver this year in 2023. If you end up with Christian McCaffrey and Garrett Wilson, you're winning your league. It's happening. You just wait for it. It's going to happen, all right? But that 5 to 7 round, if you have your pick in a Superflex league, redraft, half PPR, 5 to 7, if you get a pick pick that anywhere 5, 6, 7th pick overall. Trust me, you're going to love that spot. But let's jump into like some dynasty picks. Let's remove the Superflex. If you're just in a normal dynasty half PPR league, just normal, no Superflex, wide receivers have an incredible amount of value in dynasty. Okay, if you're drafting for the first time, it's your first season in a new dynasty league. Draft wide receivers and draft them early. Wide receivers in dynasty are foundational for your team. Wide receivers last longer. I mentioned this earlier in the video. They last longer. They have a longer shelf life. They're going to outlast any running back that you pick. Running backs generally only have like a 3-year shelf life of being incredible. Yes, they can last a little longer than that, but that they have like a 3-year time frame where they're actually killing it for your dynasty team. So start with wide receivers. If you can end up with a Justin Jefferson, you can end up with a Garrett Wilson. You're set. You're looking good. Okay, for years to come. Okay, especially young wide receivers. Obviously, they're going to dominate for a long time. But if you can end up with a Christian McCaffrey, if you can end up with a Bijan Robinson, why not? Right? I mean, if you have to go running back early, if the other guys are taken early, and you have to go running back, Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson are looking pretty good. Also, like I said, I am huge on Jahmyr Gibbs right now. He is going to be an incredible pass catcher for the Lions. With the running back room kind of deteriorated, and now Jahmyr Gibbs stepping in, Jared Goff, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and now Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh my gosh, that guy is going to be a pass-catching beast. I loved him in college. He was incredible to watch. He's going to be incredible in the NFL. I think he's undervalued, and you can get him at a little bit of a discount right now, and he is going to go through the roof. Trust me on that one, all right? The issue with running backs is that they don't last long. So even if Jahmyr Gibbs is incredible, you have to be willing and ready to trade him away for a draft spot or a wide receiver or another young running back, another up-and-coming running back. Be ready to do that kind of that 3 to 4 year cycle. You want to sell him before he drops off a cliff. So be ready for that with running backs. Okay. Let's take a look at redraft and keeper leagues. All right. In redraft and keeper leagues, running backs have a lot more value. Trevor, why do they have a lot more value? Well, because you're redrafting from year to year. The shelf life of a running back doesn't matter if you only have them for a year. Okay. If you're Derrick Henry, I'm a lot more high on Derrick Henry when it comes to a redraft league or a keeper league. So, maybe consider older guys. Joe Mixon isn't super old. Who are some older guys? Austin Eckler. Consider guys like that a lot more seriously in a redraft league because you only need them to perform that 1 year. And then next year, you don't worry about it. If you think they're too old at that point, then don't draft them. But, maybe give it a shot because, you only need that year. Also, there's a lot less great running backs out there. So like I said, if you're looking to fill your room with running backs, if they go off the board fast, you're going to end up with bottom of the barrel type guys if you're waiting on running backs. So maybe consider a running back a little bit earlier in your redraft and keeper leagues. Let's talk mock drafts. You need to do them. You need to do mock drafts. Why do I need to do mock drafts, Trevor? Well, mock drafts are an incredibly helpful tool. All right, go ahead, log into Sleeper. Once your draft settings are set by your commissioner and you have a league date or a draft date set for your league, you can go in, click on mock draft. You can see the position you're in if your commissioner's already set that, which they should. If they haven't, go tell them to do it. Tell them to set you in whatever slot that you're going to be in. Let's say you're the 105. If you go in and you do a mock draft, the computer will automatically put you in that 105 spot, and then when you start the draft, you'll be able to just go practice over and over and over. Don't just do the first few rounds, do the entire thing and do it a bunch and try different strategies. You have no idea. You'll never know what everyone is going to do. There's no way to predict that when people are drafting in your league. They're not just going to play the ADP game all the time. Some people are going to do the 0 RB strat, 0 wide receiver strat, QBs early, take Travis Kelce at the 103. People are going to do crazy things, so you got to be prepared for it. And doing mock drafts can help you prepare for that. Don't always, in mock drafts, just do the same thing over and over. Try different things and adjust based off what you think could happen. And maybe try taking a running back earlier when you normally wouldn't. Try taking a quarterback earlier when you normally wouldn't. Try different things just so that you're prepared if you need to do that when the actual draft happens. All right, try it out. Also, if you're in a keeper league, include the keepers in the mock draft. You can plug them in there. You just click on the spot where they're being kept in, click add player or set player, put them in there so that when you're drafting, you can get a kind of a clear view of what's going to be happening, and you can say, hey, I get to keep Garrett Wilson in the 12th round. Incredible. Practice like that. So maybe I want to start with the running back early, or maybe I want to start with the wide receiver early. So I have an incredible wide receiver room going into my year and into my season. You can try it out. Also, develop your own tier list, like I showed you in the tier rankings. Develop your own list. Spend some time doing that before the draft. Maybe start with one that somebody else has already built, and maybe adjust it based off of your personal preferences and different tiers and what you think will happen this year and how things will shake out. Try it out. But I recommend doing that and having that with you as the draft's occurring, so you can play around with it and use that as, again, my favorite sort of draft strategy. That's it. So stay tuned. I'm going to be making videos here soon on my top 3 favorite running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends, and then also my least favorite top 3 or bottom 3, I guess, quarterbacks, tight ends, running backs, and wide receivers as well. So those videos will be coming soon. Keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Please like this video and subscribe if you guys want to see some more FFT content. I know you do. But that's it. I'll catch you next time. See you guys.